The cargo bay of the merchant vessel Stellar Wanderer hummed with the steady rhythm of hyperspace travel. Captain Marcus Kane wiped grease from his weathered hands as he finished repairs on the navigation console. At 42, Marcus had spent half his life navigating the treacherous trade routes between human colonies and alien territories. His dark hair showed streaks of silver, and his brown eyes held the wisdom of someone who had seen both the beauty and brutality of the galaxy. Ship's proximity alarm chimed, interrupting his work. Marcus frowned as he checked the sensors. A small escape pod drifted nearby, its distress beacon flashing weakly. Against his better judgment, Marcus brought the pod aboard. The airlock hissed open, revealing a young alien woman who collapsed. Onto the metal floor, she belonged to the Nexari species, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the artificial light. Her silver hair fell in waves around delicate features, and when she looked up at Marcus with violet eyes, he felt something stir in his chest that he hadn't experienced in years. She couldn't have been more than 25 in human years. "Please," she whispered in accented standard, struggling to her feet. "I need your help. My name is Zara, and my mother is dying in the mines of Zarian Prime." Marcus had heard of Zarian Prime, a notorious mining operation run by the Korthok Syndicate. They enslaved various species to extract rare crystals from the planet's core. It was a place decent people avoided, and smart traders never went near. "I'm sorry for your loss," Marcus said carefully, "but I can't help you. Zarian Prime is a death sentence for anyone who isn't part of the Syndicate." Zara's eyes filled with tears that seemed to catch the light like liquid starlight. She stepped closer to Marcus, her small hands gripping his shirt with desperate strength. The contact sent an unexpected warmth through his body. "She's not dead," yet Zara pleaded. "My mother, Vera, she's strong. But the conditions in those mines, please, I have nowhere else to turn. The Galactic Council won't help because we're not a recognized species. You're my only hope." Marcus tried to step back, but Zara held on tighter. Her scent reminded him of night-blooming flowers from his home planet Earth. Despite his better judgment, he found himself drawn to her vulnerability and fierce determination. "What makes you think I can do anything against the Syndicate?" Marcus asked, his voice softer than before. "Because you're human," Zara replied, her violet eyes never leaving his. "I've heard stories about your species, how you never give up, how you fight impossible odds and somehow win. My mother used to tell me tales of human heroes when I was young." Marcus felt his resolve weakening. Something about this young woman touched a part of his heart he thought had died long ago. The way she looked at him with such hope and trust made him want to be the hero she believed he could be. "Even if I wanted to help," Marcus said, "Zarian Prime is heavily fortified. They have patrol ships, defense grids, and an army of guards. It would be suicide." Zara released his shirt and took his hands in hers. Her skin was surprisingly warm, and Marcus felt an electric connection pass between them. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Then we'll die trying together, but I won't abandon my mother to suffer alone in those dark tunnels." 3 days into their journey toward Zarian Prime, Marcus found himself stealing glances at Zara as she studied star charts in the ship's small dining area. She had changed from her tattered escape suit into spare clothes from his wardrobe. The oversized shirt and pants somehow made her look even more vulnerable, yet there was a strength in her posture that impressed him. "The patrol routes change every 6 hours," Zara explained, pointing to various markers on the holographic display. "My mother managed to smuggle out this information before she was caught trying to escape." Marcus leaned closer to examine the data, very aware of Zara's proximity. Her silver hair brushed against his arm, and he caught another hint of that intoxicating floral scent. "Your mother sounds like a remarkable woman," Marcus said. "What happened to your people?" Zara's expression grew sad. "We're nomads by nature. Our species never settled on one world for long, preferring to explore and trade among the stars. That made us easy targets when the Syndicate began their expansion. They captured our ships one by one, enslaving those they could use, and..." She trailed off, unable to finish. Marcus placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "I'm sorry. I lost my family too, in a pirate raid when I was younger." Sometimes the galaxy feels like a cold, heartless place. Zara looked up at him, and for a moment the pain in her violet eyes matched his own. Slowly, she placed her hand over his, intertwining their fingers. The simple contact sent warmth spreading through Marcus's entire body. Maybe that's why we found each other, Zara whispered, the two lost souls in the darkness. Their conversation was interrupted by the ship's alarm system. Marcus quickly moved to the control panel, his military training taking over. 3 Syndicate. Patrol ships had appeared on the sensors, moving to intercept their course. They're hailing us, Marcus announced, his jaw tight with tension. Let me handle this, Zara said, moving to stand beside him at the communications console. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the scarred face of a Korthok commander. The alien's reptilian features twisted into a cruel smile when he saw Zara. Well. The little bird returns to her cage. She brings a human friend. Commander Thex, Zara replied, her voice steady despite the fear Marcus could see in her eyes. We're just passing through your territory. The Korthok's laugh was like grinding metal. You will both come aboard my ship immediately, or I will blow you out of space. Marcus cut the transmission and turned to Zara. Hold on to something. His hands flew over the controls, pushing the stellar wanderer beyond its safety limits. The ship groaned under the strain as they dove toward a nearby asteroid field. Laser fire from the patrol ships lit up the space around them. Can you pilot through those rocks? Zara asked, gripping Marcus's arm as the ship shook from a near miss. I learned to fly in the asteroid belts of the Sol system, Marcus replied, with a grim smile. If we survive this, remind me to tell you about my misspent youth. For the next 20 minutes, Marcus weaved through the floating rocks with skill that bordered on the supernatural. Behind them, 2 of the patrol ships collided. With asteroids, their explosions lighting up the darkness, the 3rd ship gave up the chase as they emerged on the far side of the field. When the immediate danger passed, Zara threw her arms around Marcus's neck, pulling him into an unexpected embrace. The adrenaline from their escape, combined with the warmth of her body against his, made Marcus's heart race faster than any space battle ever had. Thank you, she whispered against his ear. I thought we were dead. Marcus held her tighter, breathing in her scent and feeling something he hadn't experienced in years. For the first time since agreeing to this impossible mission, he began to hope they might actually succeed. The infiltration. 2 days later, Marcus and Zara crouched behind a ridge overlooking the Zarian Prime mining facility. The massive complex stretched across the planet's surface like a metallic cancer, its towers reaching toward the perpetually gray sky. Hover platforms carried loads of raw crystal or between the extraction sites and processing centers, while armed guards patrolled the perimeter. There, Zara pointed to a section of the facility where a line of prisoners shuffled between buildings. That's where they keep the workers. My mother should be in Block 7. Marcus studied the layout through his electronic binoculars. The security was even tighter than he'd expected. Motion sensors, energy barriers, and guard posts at every entrance. Getting in would require more than luck. We'll need a distraction, Marcus said, lowering the binoculars. Something big enough to draw their attention away from the prison blocks? Zara moved closer to him, her shoulder touching his as she pointed to various locations on his portable scanner. The contact made it difficult for Marcus to concentrate on tactical planning. The power generator is here, she said. If we could overload it somehow, that would kill everyone in the facility, including your mother, Marcus replied. We need something more surgical. As they planned their approach, the conversation turned more personal. Zara told Marcus about her childhood, traveling between star systems with her family's trading vessel. Marcus shared stories of his time in the human Colonial Defense Force before he became a dependent trader. Why did you leave the military? Zara asked as they waited for nightfall. I got tired of taking orders from people who had never been in real combat, Marcus replied. And after my family died, I didn't see the point in defending a galaxy that seemed determined to destroy itself. Zara studied his profile in the fading light. What changed your mind? About helping me, I mean. Marcus turned to meet her gaze, and the intensity in her violet eyes made his breath catch. Maybe I was just waiting for the right reason to care about something again. The distance between them seemed to shrink without either of them moving. Marcus reached up to brush a strand of silver hair from Zara's face, his fingers lingering. Against her cheek, her skin was incredibly soft, and she leaned into his touch with a small sigh. "Marcus," she whispered, her voice filled with an emotion he was afraid to name. Before he could respond, Zara closed the gap between them, pressing her lips to his in a kiss that was both gentle and desperate. Marcus felt years of loneliness and pain melt away as he held her closer, pouring all his unspoken feelings into that perfect moment. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. Zara rested her forehead against his, her eyes closed, as if trying to memorize the sensation. "I know this is crazy," she said softly. "We barely know each other, and tomorrow we might both be dead." "Then let's make tonight count," Marcus replied, pulling her into another kiss. They held each other as the twin moons of Zarian Prime rose overhead, painting the landscape in silver light. Despite the danger that awaited them, Marcus felt more alive than he had in years. This remarkable woman had awakened something in him that he thought was lost forever. As dawn approached, they began their descent toward the mining facility. The real test of their growing bond was about to begin. Breaking chains, the maintenance tunnel was barely wide enough for Marcus to crawl through, his shoulders scraping against the metal walls as he followed Zara deeper into the facility. Had been moving through the service conduits for over an hour, using schematics Zara had memorized from her mother's intelligence. "There," Zara whispered, pointing to a grate that led into the prison block. Through the metal slats, he could see rows of sleeping chambers where the enslaved workers rested between shifts. Marcus carefully removed the grate and helped Zara down into the corridor. The smell hit them immediately, a mixture of unwashed bodies, fear, and despair. Dozens of beings from various species lay on thin mattresses, their bodies bearing the scars of hard labor and cruel treatment. "Mother," Zara called softly as they moved between the sleeping forms. A figure stirred in one of the far corners. She sat up. Marcus could see the family resemblance immediately. Vera had the same delicate features as her daughter, though. Her blue skin was pale from lack of sunlight, and her silver hair was streaked with premature white. Despite her obvious suffering, her violet eyes held the same fierce intelligence that had drawn Marcus to Zara. "My little star," Vera whispered as Zara knelt beside her. "You should not have come here." "I couldn't leave you," Zara replied, tears streaming down her face as she embraced her mother. Marcus kept watch while the two women held each other. Around them, other prisoners began to wake, hope flickering in their eyes as they realized what was happening. "We don't have much time," Marcus said quietly. "The shift change is in 30 minutes. Vera struggled to stand, and Marcus immediately moved to support her other side. Despite her weakened condition, he could feel the strength that had kept her alive in this horrible place. "There are 43 others in this block," Vera said as they helped her toward the tunnel entrance. "We cannot leave them behind." Marcus had expected this complication. In her place, he would have said the same thing. "The tunnel won't support that many people moving at once. My ship can't carry everyone. We make multiple trips," Zara said firmly. "No one gets left behind." Before Marcus could argue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Emergency lights bathed the prison block in red, and the sound of running feet echoed from the corridors outside. They discovered the security bypass, Marcus realized. "We're out of time." Vera gripped his arm with surprising strength. "Zara and go." "I'm too weak to make the journey anyway," No, Zara said fiercely. "We leave together or not at all." Marcus felt his heart swell with pride at her determination. Even as his tactical mind calculated their rapidly diminishing chances of escape. The sound of approaching guards was getting louder. "There's another way," he said suddenly. "The Aura transport system. Those hover platforms travel directly to the landing pads where the cargo ships dock." It was dangerous and would expose them completely, but it might be their only chance. As the prison block doors began to cycle open, Marcus helped Vera into the maintenance tunnel, while Zara rallied the other prisoners. "Follow the woman with silver hair," Marcus told them. "Lead you to safety. What about you?" Zara asked, her eyes wide with fear. Marcus pulled her close for one last kiss, pouring all his love and desperation into the contact. When they broke apart, he pressed his sidearm into her hands. I'm going to buy you time. Get your mother in. The others to my ship. If I'm not back in 20 minutes, take off without me. Marcus, no, Zara pleaded. But he was already moving toward the approaching guards. As he disappeared around the corner, Zara heard the sound of energy weapons firing. Fighting back tears, she helped her mother into the tunnel and began leading the rescued prisoners toward their uncertain freedom. The man she loved was facing impossible odds alone. All she could do was trust in the human determination she had heard so much about. Love among the stars, Marcus pressed his back against the corridor wall as energy bolts sizzled past his head. He had managed to lead the guards away from the prison block, but now found himself trapped between two squads of syndicate soldiers. His weapon was almost out of charge, and there seemed to be no way out. Surrender, human, called Commander Thex from behind his cover. Your friends have already been recaptured? Marcus smiled grimly, recognizing the lie for what it was. They had caught Zara. The reptilian commander would have been gloating about it. That meant she was still free, still had a chance to escape with her mother and the others. You'll have to come and take me, Marcus shouted back, then sprinted toward the nearest access ladder. He climbed rapidly toward the facility's upper levels, the guards pursuing close behind. His plan was simple: create enough chaos to keep their attention while Zara reached his ship. As he reached the processing center's main floor, Marcus spotted what he needed. The crystal refinement tanks contained highly volatile compounds. A few well-placed shots would create an explosion visible. From orbit, Marcus took careful aim, knowing this would likely be his final act. The first tank erupted in a pillar of blue flame, sending shockwaves through the entire facility. The second explosion brought down a section of the roof, and by the third, alarms were screaming throughout the complex. Through the chaos, Marcus heard the distinctive whine of his ship's engines. Zara had made it to the Stellar Wanderer. Relief flooded through him as he watched the vessel rise from the landing pad, carrying the rescued prisoners to safety. An energy bolt caught him in the shoulder, spinning him around and sending him crashing to the floor. As consciousness faded, Marcus smiled. Zara was free. That was all that mattered. He awoke in the ship's medical bay, his shoulder bandaged but healing. Zara sat beside his bed, her violet eyes red from crying. When she saw him stir, relief transformed her features. I thought I'd lost you, she whispered, taking his hand in both of hers. How did you... ... Marcus began, then noticed they were in hyperspace. We escaped? Your explosion created enough confusion for us to rescue you, Zara explained. Mother insisted we couldn't leave without you. She said any man worthy of her daughter's love was worth saving. Marcus struggled to sit up, wincing at the pain in his shoulder. Your mother approves? Zara's laugh was like music. She says you have the heart of a warrior and the soul of a protector. High praise from a woman who has seen the worst the galaxy has to offer. They were interrupted by Vera entering the medical bay, moving with more strength than she had shown in the prison. The older woman studied Marcus with intelligent eyes before speaking. My daughter tells me you risked everything to save people you had never met, Vera said. That speaks well of your character, Marcus Kane. I had good motivation, Marcus replied, squeezing Zara's hand. Vera smiled knowingly. Love can indeed move mountains, or in this case, rescue prisoners from impossible odds. For the following weeks, as they traveled to a safe haven where they rescued prisoners could start new lives, Marcus and Zara's relationship deepened. They spent hours talking about their dreams and fears, sharing stories of their past and planning for an uncertain but hopeful future. On their final night together, before reaching the refugee settlement, they stood on the ship's observation deck, watching stars streak past in hyperspace. Zara leaned against Marcus's good shoulder, her head resting on his chest as he held her close. What happens next? She asked softly. We find a new path, Marcus replied, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. Together, if you'll have me. Zara looked up at him, her violet eyes shining with unshed tears of joy. I love you, Marcus Kane, against all odds, in the middle of chaos. I found the one person in the galaxy who makes me complete. Their kiss was tender and full of promise, a seal on their commitment to face whatever challenges lay ahead as partners. Around them, the stars continued their ancient dance, witnesses to a love that had bloomed in the darkness and now burned brighter than any sun. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but they would face it together, proof that sometimes the most unlikely connections could forge the strongest bonds. Their story was just beginning,